All right, good afternoon and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Lee Doubleday, and I'm the Director of Operations here at the Imagine America Foundation. I'm excited about today's topic, which is non-baccalaureate STEM career pathways, sponsored by Universal Technical Institute, or UTI. UTI is this country's leading provider of high-quality, career-focused education at 16 locations nationwide. UTI is also a 21-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 17,000 enrolling Imagine America students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me refer any and all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation and how your students can apply for a scholarship to attend this institution to our website, which is www.imagine-america.org. But since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a serious shortage in certified technicians. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation again is Universal Technical Institute, and joining us today to discuss in detail the looming technician shortage and how UTI is helping meet this need is Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle is a nationally recognized expert in this area with an extensive K-12 background, so you're in great hands today. But before turning the program over to Dr. Coyle, let me outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, with question and answers at the end of the presentation. All participants can and are encouraged to submit questions while this presentation is in session via the Q&A or the chat feature. So if as we're going through you have a question for either myself or Dr. Coyle, please type it in there because we will get to those questions at the end of the presentation or approximately 2:25. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle, floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Lee. And, I think he deserves a round of applause because he can now say non-baccalaureate. So we've been working on that all fall. So
Thank you.
Great job, Lee, on that. So, hey, I know you all are busy, and I really thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to spend it with me. And so let's get right into the presentation. I don't know if you've been watching the news or not, but something that's popping up in the news on TV is the dropping enrollment in colleges, universities, and community colleges. It's about a 10 or 12% drop, and my theory on this, and I think others will concur, is that these students, these Gen Z students, they're just not having going to school for 4, 5, or 6 years. They're just not about that. You know these kids as well as I do. They want everything now. They want things right away. They're not going to email. They want to text. They want to Snapchat. They want to Instagram. Those are how they communicate with each other. And so they're not going to go to school for that length of time. They're looking for something they can get in about a year, give or take, and they can get out and they're all about making money. They want to make money, so they're willing to get some skills, but they just don't want to take the time. And not all of your students, but many of your students. I don't know if you realize or not, but about half of high school students right now are thinking of other types of education other than college and university. So it's something we have to take notice of. In a recent survey by Stanley Black & Decker, 85% of young people value a skilled trades career, but only 16% are very likely to consider it. That's quite a difference. And a couple of things contribute to that. One is that young people don't understand what skilled trades are all about. And that's our fault as educators. We have to do a better job of letting them know what is out there available to them. They tend to think that this isn't cutting edge technology with these kind of jobs. They're more like hobbies. They're not really careers. They're just jobs that you can do in the meantime, and they don't even pay that well. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, these are STEM careers. You have somebody building your house, you might say a carpenter uses STEM. No way. Well, they do. They have to be able to read a yardstick, a ruler, a tape measure. They have to understand how the weight has to be supported and what it takes to do all that. I mean, all those things go into the building of your house. So it's very important. The other problem that we have is the underrepresentation of women. That's an untapped area that we have to get more of, and that is women in STEM. Right now, if you look at all STEM careers, about 27% of the people in those STEM careers are female. That's a very low number. That has to improve. And that's where we have to do a better job of letting these girls know what is available to them out there so that they can get involved in these careers. And I'll talk more about that here a little later in the presentation about women in STEM. So alternatives to traditional education. When we think about, looking at career pathways, we have to remember, what are employers looking for? It's simple. They're looking for skills. What do you bring to the table? What can you do? What's going to make their company, their school, their corporation, whatever, what's going to make them better? You all have skills as school counselors. You have a specific set of skills that makes you a good counselor. That's why your school district's hired you. Well, it's no different with these people being hired in STEM careers. The employers are looking for what can you do? But you have to remember, there's two types of skills. One type of skills is one we mostly think of is, oh, can they weld? Can they plumb? Can they build a house? Can they cut hair? Whatever the skill trade is, can they do those things? But that one that we don't talk about enough are the soft skills, the communication skills. Let's face it, the pandemic did these kids no favors at all getting prepared. And plus, you'll see them. You'll see them at the mall. You'll see them at different restaurants, places like that. And they're not talking to each other. They're texting each other. You'll even see families doing that. They're all on their phones. They're not communicating with each other. It's a lost art. One of the things that we do, we offer a service writing class where we talk to our students about, hey, it's one thing to be able to fix their car, but it's another to have to convey that information to them so that they know what's happening with their vehicle and know how much it's going to cost, all those things. So very much to succeed in the modern economy today, you need both levels of skills. I just spoke yesterday in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and got a lot of discussion about this slide. So I want to share this with you. We talk about how employers see employees and then how employees see themselves. For instance, professionalism, work ethic. The employer saw that employee at a 43% proficiency, 42.5 to be exact. But the employee saw themselves at almost 90%. That's huge. It's quite a difference. So we look at another one, oral and written communications. The employer saw the employee at 41.6%, almost 42%. The employee themselves, they saw themselves at almost 80% proficiency. So why is there such a difference here? Well, I have another theory. I knew you were waiting for that. And my theory is simply that we don't teach kids how to fail. We don't teach kids how to lose. We don't challenge them. Right? We have this thing, and it goes back when they're little. They start playing Little League, even before that, started playing T-ball and then coach's pitch and, all those kind of things. Everybody gets a medal. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets a ribbon. Nobody loses. Everybody's built up that, oh, hey, you're great, all this. Hey, as educators, it is our job to make sure we're preparing these students properly to go into the workforce. And that means having to tell them, hey, you're not very good at this. Okay, we've got to improve. We don't have to be harsh with them. We don't have to destroy them, but it's okay to challenge them. It's okay to say, hey, you've got to do better, or you might need to go a different direction. Something like that. All we're doing now is we're setting kids up for failure. When they get into their career pathway, their chosen field, they're not properly prepared. So when they go into it and they do fail, it's like they panic. What do we do? So they have a very high opinion of themselves, which this chart shows. So as educators, we need to do a better job of preparing them for what they're going to go into. Another statistic that's kind of sad is that almost half of college graduates walking around on the face of the earth today have a college degree that they aren't using or they didn't need it in the first place. What an eye-opening experience to get into your career and think, golly, I spent 4, 5, 6 years of my life. I put all that effort into it. I put all that money into it. I didn't need it. It's like, they're at a job. It's like going buying a new car, pull it into the driveway, and it just sits there. It's like, how do you do that? You got the education for a reason. That's what we do when we train technicians. We're training them to go into their chosen field. But we have so many students that aren't using theirs. Case in point, I was in Tennessee a few months ago at the Tennessee School Counselor Conference. Head back to the airport, my Uber driver struck up a conversation with her. She has a master's degree, just got it not too long ago. She thought that was going to be the answer to all of her problems. She's going to make more money. She's going to be able to move up the corporate ladder. Everything's going to be great. She said none of those things happened. She was an Uber driver. I thought maybe it's part-time, but no, she's a full-time Uber driver. Best part about that is her boyfriend has a bachelor's degree also in the corporate world. He has a food truck. Between them, they make about $110,000 a year. They're doing pretty well for themselves. But what she said really caught my attention. She said, yeah, as an Uber driver, I have control of my time and my money. And that's really important to Gen Z kids. She was able to control it. She said, hey, if I didn't feel like driving today, I don't drive. If I want to make more money, I need more money. I've got an expense I need to take care of. I drive more. So she loves that. And so that's why we have to think about when we're getting kids prepared for college readiness and or career readiness and career pathways. Let's keep this in mind. Let's get them down the right path so they don't make this mistake. Why a trade school? Well, first of all, we have to understand trade schools, and it's very unfortunate, but they still carry that stigma of a plan B, second-rate education. Well, you can do that if something else doesn't work out. You should be shooting for this, but if that doesn't happen, well, you can always do this. Anybody can weld, anybody can plumb, anybody can build a house, anybody can work on a car. It's not true, not even remotely true. We have to remember that this is plan A for all of your students. This is what they chose to do, what they want to do. So as educators, it's important that we celebrate all of our student successes, not just the ones that are going off to a prestigious college, so to speak, a Harvard or Yale or something like that, or maybe they're going, maybe they got a full ride scholarship to play football at University of Florida or something like that, Florida State. We celebrate those. Why don't we celebrate the kids that chose a pathway of going into a trade school, a career school, some type? Because those jobs are in demand. We need them. We do it for the military. We celebrate them going in, and we thank them for their service. Why don't we thank these kids that want to be welders and plumbers and stuff? Why don't we thank them for their service too? Because we need them. So something to think about. Also, that is a great way to get parents involved. When you have a career fair, you notice I didn't say college fair. If you're still calling it a college fair, stop it. Call it a career fair. You say college fair, they're going to think Florida State, University of Florida, they're going to University of South Florida, they're going to think of those. They're not going to think about a UTI. They're not going to think about a cosmetology school. They're not going to think about those kinds. And so it's important to get all of them recognized. But that helps with the parents too, because all parents want their kids recognized too. So it's a great way to get them involved as well in your school and in your programs. On this page, one word stands out, and that word is essential. You look at all these. Now, we teach in all of these areas, but that's not why it's essential. It's essential simply because we couldn't live our lives without these things. Now, you might say, well, avionics technician, that's really not that important to me. Maybe not to you, but it is to me, because I fly all over the country speaking to educators. So that's very important to me. But we look at these, we say, plumber, that's essential. Not until the toilet won't flush. Then all of a sudden it's your new best friend. So we have to remember our lives revolve around these people. Because you think about it, before the pandemic, they were important. During the pandemic, even more important. And now after the pandemic, even more important. Try finding these people to come to your home to work. That there's a shortage of all of them. But these are essential to our lives. And the best part is they are high in demand and they pay well. These guys don't make $5, $6, $7 an hour. You know, they're making up, you know, they're up in that range where they're making 50, 60, $70,000 and more as they move, you know, to experience on that. So so essential is a word you need to keep in mind. And then right along with that, you look here at this. The reason why I bring this up is kind of a repeat of the last one, but it's really not, because I want to drive home another point here. And the point is that students don't know what all's out there available to them. That's why we do workshops. We come out to your schools. We do workshops in your high schools. We talk to kids about career readiness and career pathways that are out there to educate them on what is available to them. For instance, I pick out non-destructive testing. It's the very last one. I'll bet many of you don't even know what that is. I didn't know what it was until we acquired MIAT, but non-destructive testing, every time we have a hurricane, every time we have a flood, or we have an earthquake, something that's going to affect the structures that we are living in or that we use, they have to be tested to see if they're safe. You know, I always thought I'd drive across a bridge, it didn't fall in, it's a good day. But no, we need more testing than that. We have to be sure these things are right. So that is a career pathway that many students wouldn't even know is there. CNC machining. Most people don't even know what CNC stands for, computer numerical control. But it's a great career opportunity. I mean, we offer it at our NASCAR Tech campus in Mooresville, North Carolina, and those kids, I mean, they get jobs upon graduation. Oftentimes, they're after them before they ever graduate to come into work, because there's such a demand, such a need for those. So that's why our workshops are so important, because they will expose kids to these types of careers that are out there, so that they can make a more informed decision, because they know these things exist. They didn't think they existed. I'm going to switch gears here and talk about women in STEM. I told you earlier that we're trying to do something about this problem. You know, as I said, we only have 27% of women involved in STEM careers. That's too low. It has to get better. So we started working with Ignite Worldwide last year, Inspiring Girls Now in Technology Evolution, and we conducted several workshops. But this year we've expanded on our own. We're going to take it even to a new level to try to get more and more girls involved in trades and in STEM skills. Their mantra: you can't be what you can't see. You know, and you think about the role models out there, they're not there for these girls. You know, when's the last time you saw a female welder, a female plumber, female auto technician, or a diesel technician, a female carpenter? When you see them working on the roads, you know, you're going through those work zones, how many women do you see? Not very many. If you do, it's like, oh wow, they have a woman working for them, like it's a novelty. Shouldn't be like that. And if you do see them working, they're usually holding the stop sign and then the slow sign on it. Just they're not doing anything like they could do. So we're trying to change that. So we hosted skilled trades conferences. We hosted 8 last year. We had over 1,000 high school girls attend and tour UTI campuses. We feature on social media. We even conducted a virtual workshop because we're not in every state. So we did the virtual so those girls could come. Had over 200 girls on there. 8 high schools were represented. It was a great event. It was a way for these girls to see what's out there for them. One that I wanted to point out is our one in Mooresville, North Carolina. We had that on October 13, 2021. What's so special about this is that we were actually awarded the ACCSC, that's our accrediting body. We were awarded their Community Service Award based on this and other of the events that we held. But you can see here on this, in the upper right-hand corner, you see those girls, they're actually working in a pit crew class that we offer at NASCAR Tech, getting kids ready to go into racing. I'll bet that morning, when they got up to come to this, they had no clue they were going to be doing something like that, what they're doing right there. You know, once again, they've never been invited. They've never been exposed to this. And that's what we're trying to do, to show them what is out there for them. And you can see a lot of participation throughout the event. And as I said, we hosted 8 of these nationwide for these girls to experience. Now, What's important about these is we bring in women in STEM. These are women who are very successful. Kristen Labonte, president and founder of Breaking Limits. Sophie Fox, CEO of Women in Wheels. We're going to be working with her next year on some things. Brooke Ulrich, who's a UTI graduate, equipment manager for the Home Depot. She's now moved on to another position. Madison Conrad with Roush Yates Engines. Jennifer Lefevre with Roush Yates Engines, only the leading engine builder in the world. And so these women were great because these girls then could ask them questions, things like, "Hey, were you afraid? Hey, did you people make fun of you? What did your parents think?" These are the questions these girls are wondering because they're moving into an area they've never been to before, and so it is scary for them. So these women do a great job of just telling their story, letting these girls see that, hey, yeah, I did it, you can do it too. Those are the role models they need. The best part, though, about these are the cards that they fill out at the end. We ask them to just give us, how they felt that day. And here's one. I like watching cars go fast, but wow, today I couldn't stop smiling. I was intrigued with everything. I had no idea how I would start a job in this career. Now all I can think is to apply here after high school. There's a great example of a girl that had no idea what was out there for her, and when she found out, she loved it. And it gave her an opportunity, the permission, whatever you want to call it, to go into one of these fields or to explore it. And so what a great liberating feeling to be able to do something like that. So we're hoping that we can continue this throughout this year and in the coming years and get more women involved in STEM skilled trades to grow the numbers. These are industry relationships. I'm not bringing these up to brag. Yeah, we have over 35 industry partners. We're the only school in the country that does. But here's my point. If you are not getting industry involved in your schools, that's a big miss. It's huge for you. This is a great opportunity. I know what your budgets are like. You don't have them. These guys will work with you. They work with us. This is who we prepare our graduates for, to go to work for them. We host industry days. We host things at different dealerships and different businesses. And we bring students in. We bring school counselors in. We bring parents in. So you can see what it's like out there. There's a lot of misconceptions. We think of a dealership, oh, there's just going to be grease and oil everywhere. No, no, no. These cars are rolling computers. They're not like that any longer. And so we have to expose students to these things that are out there so they can see. So please make sure that you're getting industry involved. When you have a career fair, invite them in. They'll come. If you have a field trip and take them to the place, or have them come in and talk to your kids. We come in and talk to students all the time, as I said earlier, with our workshops. So just want to let you know that that's out there. So don't let that opportunity get away from you. It's important. I like to talk about our TRIP program. Yeah, I know we all have a great success in getting kids to fill out scholarships, don't we? Yeah, we know better. We don't. But the TRIP program seems to be working. Tuition Reimbursement Incentive Program. We have over 5,000 employers nationwide that actually come in. They come looking for our graduates, and they will give them packages to help pay off their student loans, to help with relocation, to help with tools, all these things, because my gosh, tools, that could be $30,000-$40,000. That's a lot of money. So this TRIP program has proven to be very beneficial. Now there is a catch. Not every kid's going to get this. You got to work. It's so different than anything else. They're just not going to hand it to you. BMW wants the best. Mercedes-Benz wants the best. Porsche wants the best. So they're going to look at things like your attendance while you're in school. They're not going to look at SAT scores or ACT scores. They're not going to look at those, but they're going to look at your professionalism, your work ethic. That's what they want to see, because they want to invest in you, but they want to make sure it's a good investment. So once again, a great program, a great opportunity to have your school paid for. These are our locations nationwide. Of course, our two newest campuses, one's in South Florida and Miramar. We also have one in Austin, Texas. We have our two MIAT campuses that are fairly new in Canton, Michigan, and down in Houston, Texas. But this nationwide presence is important when we're placing students into their chosen career, which is why I wanted to show you this slide so you can see where we are located all over the country. And of course, we we offer non-baccalaureate opportunities. We do offer associate degrees at many of our facilities. Project-based learning, emphasis on professionalism. We give you uniforms, we expect you to wear them because when you get in the industry, they're going to expect it. Graduate success, we have over 220,000 graduates. That number continues to climb daily. Graduation rate, the average graduation rate nationwide, 48%. Ours is in the 60s. Placement rate, we say 4 out of 5 are graduates. Some of our programs are higher than that. Title IV funded, fill out a FAFSA to see if you qualify for financial aid, scholarships and grants. And of course, I already talked to you about the national presence and the industry relationships. This is my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me. If you have any questions or comments, follow me on Instagram, Steve Coyle 2793. You follow me, I'll follow you back. I promise. I love partnering with school counselors any way possible. We'd love to partner with you any way we possibly can. We'll come into your schools. We can do professional development for you. I can come in and do that for you. There's no charge for any of these things. We just want to work with you any way possible. And finally, you know you made it in life when you have your own QR code. So there we go. There's my QR code. So feel free to snap a picture of that. Reach out to me if you have any questions, suggestions, ideas. I'd love to hear from you. If I can help you in any way, I'd love to do so. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend it with me. Hope you got a few gems out of here. Good luck for the rest of the school year. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dr. Coyle. We are now going to open this up for the Q&A portion of our conversation. I will leave Dr. Coyle's QR code up there so you can scan that and reach out to him directly if we don't get to your question. Dr. Coyle, the first question, this person wants to know if there are GPA or SAT score requirements in order to attend UTI.
No, neither one. I mean, well, obviously we want students to do the best they can, but we also know these kids are wired different. You know, they're going to have C, D, C, maybe a B in there, and then A. And those A's are the shop classes because they're hands-on learners. We don't require SAT or ACT scores. We don't look at those. We basically look at their attendance. We look at their background because we're going to ask them the same questions that service managers are going to ask them when they hire them. So that's really our goal, is to make sure we're bringing in a high quality student.
Yeah, and you sort of have like an interview process in that admissions process, am I right?
That's correct. Yeah, you can't just come to UTI. You have to be invited through that. We meet with the student and their parents to make sure that this is a good fit, not only for them, but for us. And because we want to be successful, we want to spend time bringing kids in. The industry needs techs, and so we want to get the best we can.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. This next question we get often about, comparisons with community colleges. What would you say to somebody that would say, hey, a student could just as easily go to the local community college, get the same education for less money?
Oh, sure. In fact, I had a counselor come to me when I did my did the conference up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Asked me that very question, and it's a good question. First of all, we are not a community college. Don't pretend to be. We do two different things. We don't offer the same outcomes as what a community college does. We do manufacturer-specific training, so that's first and foremost. We have 37 alliances with manufacturers. So you want to go to work for Porsche, you can do that. But the other thing too is the time you're going to be in school. You're going to be in school about a year on average at UTI. At community college, you're going to be in there 2 to 3 years, so you're going to be there longer. And then the trip package. I know about all the different programs that these states have where you can go to college free, but they're not working. You can look at the graduation rates and tell that. It's pretty easy on the college scorecard. For some kids it is, but a lot of kids that have no skin in the game. So the only reason they're going to school is because it's free, then that's the wrong reason. So our trip package gives them a chance to go to school free if they qualify for that. But we have so many opportunities for them that it's really amazing. So that's really the basic differences between us and community colleges.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, all right. Just a few house cleaning items here. Number one, we've recorded this session. We'll be sending it out to all of our registrants likely tomorrow morning, along with Dr. Coyle's contact information. There is a quick survey when you leave this meeting. It's only 4 questions long, multiple choice. Any feedback you could provide to us would be greatly appreciated. We do presentations like this one all over the country, so anything that you really took away from the presentation or that you wanted to hear more about but didn't, please let us know so that we can include it in future presentations. Before closing, I just want to thank all of you for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us. I'd also like to thank Dr. Coyle for sharing with us today's presentation and encouraging you to contact him directly with any future questions you may have. And on behalf of the Imagine America Foundation, Dr. Coyle and myself, I want to thank you. Wish you a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.